Good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the Legacy Builders series. I am your host, Ace Randall. As always, it is always a pleasure coming on with you to empower you and to enlighten you on building and creating legacy. Before I introduce my phenomenal guest that's going to be on with us tonight, as always, I have an inspirational thought that I want to give to you. It seems to be that the revelation through movies is coming at me again, and I was watching a movie that I've seen before called Upside Down, and it came out in 2013. And basically, the movie is basically about two planets that is orbiting pretty much simultaneously by each other around the sun, and it's one particular point on those planets that their atmospheres are pretty much interconnected. And in these, on these planets or what have you, they are separated by class. The ones that are above are the ones that's considered the elite, the rich. They have the better jobs, they live better, or what have you. And the ones that below live more poor. They live, or they have more of a struggle, and they actually take matter from above so that they can actually use it as a heat source and burn it in down below, if you will. And so, governmental law as well as gravity law actually causes the separation between these planets. Now, stay with me because I'm going somewhere with this movie. So, based on gravity or what have you, they have any type of matter like metal or rock or anything of that sort. If it's down in the opposite planet, it will burn or what have you. The humans won't burn. It's more of matter, like anything that is matter. And then the gravity from the earth that it came from naturally pulls it back in the direction from which it came. And so in this particular movie, the only thing that was able to cross barriers was these pink bees, and they were able to pollinate plants or flowers from both worlds, and the pollen from those plants gave the ability to cause things to float lightly through the air and to kind of maneuver and do some things between planets that naturally is not natural for anything else other than these pink bees. And so the young man that's the key character of this movie was taught about pink pollen through his great aunt, and she made pancakes with this pollen and called them flying pancakes. And that built the trajectory of him building a career on trying to use this pink pollen to do something with and create some sort of product or something out of it. And so throughout the movie, he falls in love with someone from the other side, the other planet, or what have you. It's still Earth. There's not different aliens. So it's not nothing like that. But he falls in love with another human from the other planet that's from above. And so that builds his trajectory on his pursuit of trying to go after, building this career, so that he could get on the other side, and as well as getting access to her and things of that sort. And so in the midst of him building this product, what have you, he kept sneaking over to the above, or the upper world, or up top, what they called it. And he kept getting caught, and was on the verge of getting arrested. And when they did catch him and arrest him, they put his great aunt's house on fire and put her in prison, and it was just a whole bunch of chaos around him trying to pursue after this thing that he was trying to build and trying to create, as well as go after love. And so what am I saying in all of this is it's based off of what are you willing to risk to go after your dream? What are you willing to defy odds to get to your dream? He literally was from a different side of the world, or different planet, that gravity states that you belong on this planet, but he decided to use his materials, that this pink pollen, to create this ointment, or this liquid that caused him the ability to be able to go to the other planet freely. And so but he did it defying odds. He did it regardless of the laws of gravity. He did it regardless of the government laws. He did it regardless of going through these different processes and losses to accomplish this. I'm going to give you another person that's a good example of defying odds. And we all know of this person. We have lost one of our great actors, Chadwick Boseman. And he is one that is also a testament of defying odds. This man had colon cancer for a number of years, going through chemotherapy and all types of processes, surgeries, and going to set after set after set and not missing a beat. If anything, his pursuit in survival probably gave us some of his best work. And so he defied odds. The odds would say, you need to be finding yourself in the hospital. You need to find yourself resting. But he decided to defy the odds and to pursue after his dream, even unto death. And so I want to challenge you at this place to not be fearful, but defy odds, regardless of whatever the government's saying, regardless of whatever Corona is saying. Defy odds and go after your dreams, go after your goals. Go back to that movie real quick before I introduce my guest. Think about it. The government, the world, natural law says that gravity from one planet, you have to be on one planet. But he came up with an idea that is now going to allow people to be able to go from either planet without disintegrating, without any issues. What type of dream do you have that will defy odds, that will shift and shape the entire world, that will bring a new creation to the world? You have it in you. You have a dream. You have an ability. You have a talent that's in you that has the ability to defy odds. Go after it and build that legacy. Thank you guys for listening to my rant. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest. He is a phenomenal guest. I will go more into introducing who he is, but stay tuned as I introduce our guest of the hour.
Legacy builder, Kendrick Scales. A bishop and CEO. Owner of Scales Pro Audio, which specializes in audio-visual production. Stay tuned as we experience the journey of how Kendrick Scales built his legacy.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for coming on to the show tonight.
It is my pleasure. You made me look good.
Well, with that being said, let me go ahead and just tell the audience how I know Bishop. We always call him Bishop, though, what have you, or people call him Scales, either one. But I knew him from some years ago. My mother used to cut his hair, and he knew my mom through some years, and then he started to pastor ministry, and I actually was under his ministry for about 4 years, and I actually got affirmed and ordained in his ministry and was one of his sons in the ministry. And I will say that he is probably, to date, the only person that has spiritually fathered me. That is not any downgrade or dishonor to anyone, but he literally invested time in developing sons and daughters. And so I had to have him on because he is a person of legacy building. He's also want to push people into pursuing their purpose and legacy. So I had to bring him on to honor him and to don't start with the tears already, sir. But I had to bring him on because he has a phenomenal story. His journey is amazing as well. So with all that being said, I got all my little accolades. I did my little Kojic moment. Got to give honor to the man of God. Peace be unto the saints of God. So let's go ahead and get started. Oh, I have you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're originally from, and then kind of give us a little bit of your history, kind of like your upbringing, and how you kind of started in learning about entrepreneurship at a young age.
In a nutshell, let me start from my beginnings, my humble beginnings. Born and raised in Maywood, Illinois, church boy. Went to church, started playing bongos, congos at 4 years old, the iron chairs. Then they put me on the drum set, started playing drums at 16. I got around pretty good for a drummer. One of my uncles kind of implemented the sound industry into me, just running around church, following behind him, because I wanted to keep up with my cousin. So, to keep up with my cousin, I had to keep up with him, and learning how to turn on stuff, how to splice wires and all that. And then I've always, in my childhood, I've always been around people that had an app for electronics, TVs, computers in my childhood. And it kind of just grew with me, or I grew with the industry, I should say. From Maywood, 12 years old, we moved to a suburb called Elgin. And once again, church boy, I got one of the family friends worked at the Hymns Auditorium. And I was 14 years old. He was the stage manager. And he didn't have any sons. He had daughters. And his family friend, so he said, I got to go to work. You want to ride with me? Like, sure. Back then, you go with family friends and just
right.
go hang out with them, And, man, just took a love for the stage and for the industry of production. I didn't want to be in theater. I didn't want to be the front man. I just took a love for production. From there, to make a long story short, once again, I was a drummer, and I took a love for music. And my biggest challenge was, because I never was formally taught, didn't take lessons or anything, never formally taught, but I could pick up things instantly. Drums, piano, bass. I could just pick out stuff. Had an ear for it, and I don't know. It just kind of like came to me. But in the audio industry, I always had a love to reproduce the original sound, and I got with my former pastor. His wife was a musical icon in Elgin, and then Church of God in Christ. Their family, the Space family. She has such a keen ear. She taught me how to hear certain things. Shout out to Reverend Gail Blaylock. Can I do that on your show? Can I mention names?
No, you fine.
And, yeah, shout out, kudos to her, because she taught me how to fine tune my hearing, to hear certain things. So that developed me in my mixing, and from there it just went on to evolve into a company. I started my company when I was in college. Actually, I just started it because as a side hustle. I'm like, okay, I'm not drumming like I used to because I can't stay out late and come back home and get up and go to corporate America in the morning for work and keep this cycle going. And they not paying me. So I got, I'm about my pay.
Indeed.
Indeed. That's just how I've always been. You want me to do a service, you got to pay me. And it was a hobby, a hustle. And I just developed it in 2001. I got sick. You recall, then I just started the ministry, and I was working for America and so forth. And I got sick, and I had one heart attack then.
Right.
And so my job was kind of, then they didn't care about your health. They wanted production. And I was working in corporate America and everything, worked for a great company. And then I had the second heart attack. And then I had the stroke. And then I started having seizures. And then the company's like, listen, man, we just got to let you go, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, no problem. And I was like, man, what am I going to do? I'm sick. I'm trying to battle with this sickness and so forth. I had a cleaning company, but I sold that. Now, I'll go back and talk about that more. I sold that to open up a salon and day spa and take proceeds from that to do that. And so I'm like, okay, I'm sitting here I'm filling out applications, and then they can get personal with you, ask you about your health, and you got to take physicals and so forth, and they see your record, especially when you're dealing with corporate America. In corporate America, they can ask for those requirements. And so, it was all just failures. I'm knocking on doors, kicking doors, and just no return calls. Or sorry, sir, your health is an issue. You coming in slob, coming down your mouth, and all that. And I just took, one night I was in bed just taking an inventory of everything I had, and I'm like, you know what? This hustle and hobby need to become a habit.
Indeed.
And took it and said, I'm gonna start a business just to keep things going, because I'm not working and I'm dealing with this illness. And at the time, seizures were uncontrollable. It could be at any given time. So at least if I get sick, I can say, okay, I'm not coming. Or I had enough friends that I knew in the industry that I could send forth to do the job. And it just developed. It just developed from there, because they knew what I was doing. I just didn't officially announce that I was going to start a company. And so I started the company officially. And from there, it was history. I did 18 years with Sears, gospel choir. I did 8 years with Dr. Willie Wilson Productions, running his TV shows, his Sunday shows, his traveling shows, whatever Willie wanted, Willie got.
Indeed. Willie got that money.
Willie talked that money. Shout out to Sears. Hey, Sears paid for some good stuff. Praise God. I started getting tied into certain corporate gigs, and not worried about the church scene yet, even though I was doing certain things, but I just started doing more corporate gigs. And so I was doing Motorola stuff. What was the big insurance company? Zurich.
Allstate. Oh, Zurich.
Well, I did Allstate, I did Zurich, I did Metropolitan. So I'm starting to get tied into all these corporate gigs. Hey, Flushing. Going down the line, 2008, when we had the recession, and these companies just started falling back. Those corporate gigs started falling off. Once again, had to reassess my inventory and everything. I got all this equipment, and I was already on the church scene because most people knew me as a drummer in Chicago. Most people knew me as a drummer, and they knew me in the industry, one way or the other, because of my brother or myself. And so 2008, I shifted to doing more conferences because it was a big thing doing conferences back then. So I had the ability to video, duplicate, CDs, DVDs, the whole gamut.
Right.
And so that was another part of the industry that just flourished. And so the sound portion really didn't take off till like 2010. It really didn't just flourish, really blossom to its full capacity in 2010. I'm traveling, doing gigs out of town. I'm in Iowa one day, next day I'm in DC, next day I'm in, I'm traveling all over the place. And
Right.
it just became its own entity and a blessing.
Wow. Amazing. Now I'm going to kind of go back a little bit in your history a little bit. I understand that your father is an entrepreneur, and I want to know how that influenced you, either growing up or even into your adult life to become an entrepreneur.
My dad, to put it all in a nutshell, I would say his gift that he gave me was discipline. It's like you start a job, you finish a job. Excellence across the board. If it's cutting the grass, don't cut over that line. I mean, just what I'm saying? You gonna wash your car, you wash it top to bottom, front to back, and don't miss a spot.
Wow.
That and if you miss the spot, you gonna redo the entire car.
Nice.
For real. That's how it was.
He literally wax on, wax off.
Exactly. And being how he was financially, or is, I should say, some would call him cheap. Some call him frugal. He said, I'm just a good watchman over my money.
Indeed.
And it taught me in business. Now, personal life, I was raggedy for my young age. Because here I got money coming in. I mean, seriously, here I am in my early 20s. I'm getting a check for $1,500. I'm like, $1,500. I get another same one next week. Oh, I'm gonna blow this because I know I got another coming next week.
Right.
They didn't think about saving all of it, but they got my mom was the one that said, you know what? Give me your checks, and I'm gonna give you an allowance. Now, can you imagine me and Penny? Like, Mom, we going to Chicago? We need Harold's money. We need Doc's money.
Right. Mike and Ike money.
Right. She packed sandwiches for us on the weekend. Like, every time y'all gonna be home.
Indeed.
And I would say my parents totally really just taught me discipline and how to be excellent in my in whatever I go after. And then I learned how to fine tune that in business. I would say, not bragging or anything, but I would say if anybody would if you would ask anybody what would be my calling card, is my excellence. I'm not always on time. I'm always early.
Indeed. I know very well.
Yes, sir. I don't play. I'm always equipped. If you catch me off guard the first time, you're not gonna catch me the second time.
Right.
And I'll always try to have a pleasant attitude. Now, you don't pay my money, that's a whole different ministry. But
just go duck. You might get something shooting towards you. Duck.
Hey, it's what it is. And that's what my parents instilled in me. My mom just taught me that grind. You gonna get out there, you gonna get out there and get it. And while you getting it, know how to maintain it. Where you from?
out, and it just stopped the flow of the show. But I do apologize, but we are back on. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you wonderfully. Great, 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 great. Now, I do want to kind of pull off of what you last said about the work ethic that was built from your father, and your how you learned how to save and strategize when it comes from your mother, and how you were able to bridge those things together. Now, I want to kind of like move up a little bit in time about how you was working with the Blaylarks, and you were actually pretty much his right hand. And that same work ethic that your father taught you as a kid, like if you're going to do it, you're going to do it in excellence, kind of translated over to you working with Blaylark. Pastor Blaylark. So with that being said, I want to kind of dive in a little bit and talk about how that played a part, and how you were the essential process of working with another man's vision to help him bring that out, and how that was an asset to developing your own vision.
Well, once again, growing up in church, I watched my parents serve. That was number one. I watched my parents serve. My mom, of course, everybody knows, she was the cook. Not only was she the cook, she was the seamstress. She was in the choir.
Yes.
My dad was the bus driver. My dad was on the deacon board, or trustee board, one of them. Was everyone dealt with the money. And so overall, I watched my parents serve. So that got implemented into me. When I got with Pastor Blaylark, let me back up before Pastor Blaylark. Pastor Tate, my godfather, took me from, not saying I was raggedy, but I was a cocky, over arrogant, but I was some of everybody kid at 18, and said, you know what, you and your brother need to come be my musicians. He started pastoring.
Right.
And going through college and everything, but let me give kudos to my dad. One thing he did do that shocked me, changed my world really. I was a football player. I wasn't bad, but I was pretty good. And I thought I was gonna be a pro football player. Once again, I was cocky, arrogant. Can't nobody stop me. I just say it like that. And my dad said, son, you gotta have something to fall back on. You can't depend on music your whole life. Can't depend on football your whole life. You can't depend on your good looks your whole life. So you gotta have something to fall back on. You need something tangible to hold on to and make your life better.
Indeed. So
at the time, there was a school called Illinois Technical Institute in Hoffman Estates, off of Higgins Road. We were riding one day. He just pulled up in there. For real. He just pulled up in there. He said, get out the car. I'm like, okay, what? This one of your clients or something? Look at him like, I'm known to have a client at the school. What the devil going on? We walk in. He didn't say hello. He didn't even introduce me. He said, enroll him now.
Wow.
Like, wait a minute. I'm scheduled to leave for school in the fall. This is like before my graduation.
Wow.
It was right like a week or two before my graduation. And I think it was right before my birthday because I turned 18 and I graduated in the same week. And he said, enroll him now. And they were like, okay, well, we have this program, blah, 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 blah. And I said, but I'm leaving to go to college in the fall to play football.
Right.
And he looked at me, my dad got one eye, one like this. What I say, boy.
Right.
All right, whatever. Keep me busy. I know the routine. All right. Because, he had this rule. Either you going to college, you going to the army, or I'm going to kill you. Take your pick. And so he enrolled me in the summer program. And at the time, we talk about 1984. At the time, computers really weren't like they are now.
Right.
So I didn't really want to learn programming and, the boring stuff.
Right.
Let me get my hands dirty or something. So I learned, which I still had to learn programming, but I learned how, I went to school and I learned how to troubleshoot computers, building computers. So DOS, Windows 3.1 at the time.
Right.
But make a long story short. So the same time I was Pastor Tate's musician, you're in leave for school. Went to school, didn't do all I was supposed to do. But I'll say it like that. I was not in the right vein. And so I had to come home early. And I came home and still Pastor Tate musician. And at the time I knew Pastor Blaylark because Sister Blaylark was the director for the Martin Luther King Day. And at the time, Cameron, their son Cameron, the oldest son, was 12, 13 years old. So I'm like, move, kid, I got this. And so I developed a relationship with him then. And then he gave me my first real job in the summer, second summer, so it was 1985. He gave me my first real job with the city of Elgin.
Nice.
And I'm talking about the building of the relationship. So he worked for the city. Pastor Tate worked for the city, which is my godfather. So I didn't have too many places to run.
Right. And
so them two always collaborated in one sense or another how to keep me busy.
Indeed.
And so when he started his ministry, I was just mesmerized by his ministry. I was just mesmerized how he talked, how he just gravitate to him in his ministry. Now, at the time, I wouldn't think about being no preacher, even though it was prophesied to me at the age of 13 that I was going to be a preacher. I laughed so hard when Mother Bond told me.
Oh, Lord.
I looked at Mother Bond at Space Temple Church of God in Christ, 301 DuPage Street, Elgin, Illinois. I'll never forget, it was a Friday night. I was there with Alex. Alex Space is my best friend. I laughed so hard at that woman's face, I thought she was going to slap me. But anyway, she said, baby, you're going to be a preacher, and you're going to be a good preacher, too.
Right.
I laughed. But anyways, over a period of time, I built a relationship with him. So in the 80s, like I said, he gave me a job in 85. So from 85 to 91, we kept this relationship going. Like he was my mentor, my big brother. Not wanting to be a preacher, I promise you. And in 1990, I was in Texas, trying to finish school, and I answered my call to preach. And I come home, some of his members were my friends. And this is when he was having night service. He just started. So I'm like, okay, I go do what I got to do in the morning time at Pastor Tate's church in Chicago. Come home, I got a spot to go. Because I was, once again, I'm born and raised church. You're going to do church. I don't care how much club you do or party you do. If church is in you, it's in you.
It is.
And so, right. So I would go to his night service. And we just built a relationship. So in his ministry, we just bonded. It became real close. So I would say in 92, 93, once being there for a period of time, he just said, come on, man, we need to take you under my wing. And I'd ask my call to preach. Let me take you under my wing and really groom you. I'm like, what? Man, listen, I'm busy right now. I got stuff to do. I'm trying to clock them dollars. For real. My mindset has always been conquer the world while you can. That has always been my mindset, even when I was younger. I don't know where it came from, but just conquer the world while you can.
Right.
And he took me under his wing. And he one day we were driving to his other church in Cold Temple, which is 71 miles from his doorstep to the other church. One direction, one way. Only
Wow.
I know that because 12 years. 12 years. 71 miles. And I can tell you countless times I'll beat the clock. He said to me one day, he said, you know what? I have no problems with you. You're saved, went through the whole gamut. He said, but I got one issue. You're undisciplined.
Mm.
My eyes bucked. I looked at him, I'm like, you gonna tell me I'm undisciplined? Do you know how and I'm driving? So I'm gonna go, I'm driving his LHS and I'm hitting it. I'm doing 100 miles an hour, 294. And I'm like, it's what this backhand in one. You gonna tell me I'm undisciplined? And he broke it down to me. He broke it down to me. He said, and he went through the areas that I'm undisciplined in. Excuse me. And I went from one knock him out to crying.
Wow.
To crying. And it glued us together more. Many people for years said that he was manipulating me, using me, blah, 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 blah. But they don't know how much he mentored me in the ministry.
Right.
The do's and the don'ts. And that's why I'm very careful with a lot of things. He taught me the word, talking about straight out the word.
Right.
No isms and schisms to it, no drama, no malice or anything. And I love him for that. So, of course, once again, he's married to Reverend.
Right.
And you can't deal with one without the other.
Indeed.
And once again, me who I was, she was a force to be reckoned with. Because there was only one woman gonna tell me to do anything, was my mama. Excuse me 1 second. So there's only one woman that's gonna tell me what to do, is my mama. And so when it came to music, and I've always been taught ministry, you serve, and where there's a gap, if you can do something, do it. So I'm Cameron's drumming, Sheree's on bass. I knew how to wave my hands a little bit to direct the choir. By the way, we did have one of the best youth choirs ever when I was in there. Played the organ, and she busted me every 5 seconds. I mean, I just tried to help out. But being with him, once again, that discipline, and he groomed me to the point that everything started meshing together.
Right.
So my upbringing and his discipline, talking about open rebuke, folks don't want to hear that nowadays.
Right.
Whether I want to be rebuked or not, or did I do anything to be rebuked? One time I cried in the middle of service because we just came off the road. I was a road dog. We just came off the road and we smiling, we joking and everything. And he get to the pulpit, and I'm in the corner, and he going through his preliminaries and everything. And he calls me up and he just says, I rebuke you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what the hell did I do? Come to find out, he was using me as a sounding board.
Oh, wow.
Because somebody else that needed to be rebuked, it was their warning. But he said, I knew you could take it. I'm like,
wow.
Next time warn me so I can take a little bit more. Because you just don't know I wanted to.
I tell you.
And so
that rebuke ain't fun. Look, I know. I dealt with it coming from you, so I know.
Exactly. I don't fall far from the tree. And so his discipline and my upbringing of excellence and executing a plan came together. So where he was lacking, I was up there. Where I was lacking, he was up there. So we came together. And we formed a team that, I mean, I didn't have adjunct classes. I just knew how to serve. I didn't learn how to fold his garments in adjutancy school. My mama taught me how to fold. You know, take care of his cars. He would go out of town. He would throw me the keys. Hey, take me to the airport. The car's yours for the weekend. What? I'm keeping your Lincoln. Why you go? It's on and popping. I just car wash, armor all that joker up. I'm just chilling till it's time to come back and pick him up. But it was a wonderful experience. My 20s and early 30s were the best time of my life in ministry because I got to take care of a wonderful man of God.
Indeed.
So that's that.
Good stuff. So before we continue on, we're going to take a moment's break so you can take a little sip of water. And so we come right back in. Go ahead and so we're going to have a word from our sponsor. We'll be right back with you. Stay tuned.
Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Introducing Legacy Brand Consultants. Identifying the brand within. We offer vision planning assistance, strategies for increasing revenue, offer staff vision training, along with senior leader seminars. We conduct business development conferences, church expansion strategies. Also, business expansion strategies. We offer plans on increasing foot traffic with a rapid rate for success. Phase 1, vision creation. Phase 2, strategic outline. Phase 3, branding strategy. Phase 4, growth strategy. Phase 5, expansion planning. And Phase 6, the exit strategy. Schedule your consultation by calling 773-599-9388. Office hours are Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let us help you identify the brand within.
Thank you guys for staying tuned to that brief service announcement. If you guys are coming on to the show, we are interviewing Bishop Kendrick Scales. He is a former pastor of mine, but he also is someone that has fathered me spiritually, and we are still closely connected today. And he has a very phenomenal story in his history. And so if you missed it, no worries. You can go back and watch the replay. It is available here on Facebook and on YouTube. So no worries. You'll be able to get the full scope of his journey, because I definitely tell you it will inspire you. So let's go ahead and dive back in with our guest. So just to kind of recap a little bit, you kind of gave us a little bit of your history in the beginning from growing up and coming into business. And you told us about your father and mother and how they inspired you. And then I also asked you a question about connecting to another man's vision and how you develop. Now, you've already mentioned that you said yes to ministry, and then you also said yes to pastoring. Now, we've already kind of talked about that. You already kind of talked a little bit about the pastoring a little bit during the first beginning phases, but I want to ask you this, because I have labored with you. So I know a pretty decent amount of your story. And so I know that you have had the health complications, and I have witnessed firsthand, seeing you going through those processes, and I've actually been in a hospital with you and stayed overnight many times in that regard. But what has been You know, and I know that besides God, we know that's you know, spiritually inclined. We know that that's always going to be. But what else was your driving force to keep going? You could have just, you know, said, I'm going to retire. I'm going to shut everything down. I'm just going to just, you know, relax or what have you, you know, having a history of seizures, you know, strokes and heart attacks. And, you know, what was your driving force to keep going, even to this day, to keep going?
I, back to Blaylock and my parents. Discipline and discipline from Blaylock and from my parents. Just stick to it. Just stick to it. Whether it's good, bad, indifferent. Just stick to it. And if it's gonna work out, it's gonna work out. From 2001 to 2005 or 6, excuse me, was my biggest struggles. I look at my kids, my oldest daughter especially, and you know, not just financially, but just like I need to be here for my daughter.
Indeed.
Be here for my mom, be here for my family overall, because I've always been the type of person that's been bigger than life. That's just me. I'm the background person. You need something done, call me. I'm gonna fix it. I've always been the fixer, whether it was mentally, financially, physically. I'm gonna fix it.
Right.
You know, if you can't fight for yourself, I'll fight for you. Some people may call me a bully. That's all right. What was the cliche? I'm a defender of all kind. All mankind. That, you know, if you want to fight, I'll fight you. And so that fight, I had to tell myself, you need to fight for your life.
Indeed.
Every morning I woke up, it was a struggle for 5-6 years. It was a struggle because I was so heavily medicated. 13 pills in the morning, 8 pills midday, another 13 at night. I was just heavily medicated. Yeah, it was just, it was hard to function just for myself. And then I got to think about my kids and my family, ministry, friends. And it was just, I had to be determined. Going back to what I was taught spiritually, faith without works is dead.
Indeed.
So daily I got up and I got in my word and I prayed, and I was like, Lord, now this is what we're gonna do today. I executed the plan right in front of the Holy Ghost. Like, Holy Ghost, let's work this. Let's work this. Now today I'm gonna walk to the car by myself. It was just that extreme. Today I'm going to the store by myself. Indeed. Today, you know, and it became a daily habit of being a visionary for myself.
Right.
With ministry, I had to keep the straight face for ministry and barely could talk.
Right.
You remember?
Yes.
You know, a couple times I had to roll me in the wheelchair and sit me up on the stool. When I busted my knee, you know.
Right.
Remember that? I busted my knee that Saturday, and I came in that Sunday morning with a full cast on.
Right.
And it still
kept going.
It still kept going. That fight, that determination, has always been my strong suit. And I had to learn to fight once again. Learn how to fight for myself, naturally and spiritually. Growing up on the prayers of my mom and my grandmama, I was on easy street. I knew things were gonna work out.
Right.
But when it hit me, and I had to look after everybody else, it got very hard.
Indeed.
You know, so once again, you saw the struggles for that time period from up to 2005, 6, and then all of a sudden there was a breakthrough. There was a breakthrough. I don't know if you remember when I preached the sermon, medicine versus miracles.
Mm-hmm.
And from then on, I ain't been on them 13 pills a day.
Right.
4 in the morning and 8 in the midday and 13 at night. And I'm like, God, if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it.
Indeed.
Show yourself. Let me see your glory.
Indeed.
I'm like, I done slobbed enough. I done slobbed, I done cried, I done rolled, I done pooped, I done did all that. I done Jesus enough.
Indeed.
Let me, Lord, show your face in me. Let me see your manifestation.
Absolutely.
So from that sermon on, God just started turning things. But let me say it like this. When you want God to turn things for you, be also be ready for God to show you some things that you might not like.
Right.
Because he starts showing you people, showing yourself, your surroundings, and it came to the point where I'm like, oh, God, wait, that's too much now. That's just way too much. Let me deal with one thing at a time. Like, no, if you want to make a full turn, I need to show you this because your escape might be in the next turn. And that's send me my offering.
I tell you, you know what? As I was listening to you, I got this. I got an answer to something that I didn't realize until now, and don't stop pulling out no tissues. But I realized that I got my kind of go-getter mentality from being around you, and I give you an example. When we, partially growing up through, being a part of your ministry, I saw, and this is also a part of my next question to you. I saw how you, when we would do like the doing Easter in the View, for an example, and we had to, get monies and things of that sort together, and you didn't really have the support that you really needed, but you did it by yourself. Most of it you did by yourself, and then people would just kind of come together in the last moment, but you did it by yourself. And you already know, when I did the conference, that's what I experienced. I experienced exactly what you went through. But and so I think that being around you kind of gave me that encouragement to keep going if you got to go it alone. And so with that being said, what kept you going? I know what kept me going, but what kept you going when you had flyers out there saying that you're doing, Easter in the View, for an example, or you're doing, certain things that required money or required connections? What kept you going when you did not have backing or support by the ones you was expecting to have backing and support from?
I know God, and I've had so many personal experiences with God. God showed me my second heart attack. I actually remember I called a church meeting in the emergency room. Remember that?
Right.
I called everybody, all my leaders in the emergency room. Doctor was like, you can't be doing. I need to get this done.
Right.
Just in case. Because they were saying, my heart was so damaged, XYZ, that they wanted to do open heart surgery, but they couldn't because of another thing. And so and by that time, I had stroke too. So I was just all messed up. So you remember that?
Yes.
So God revealed to me before that, kept giving me this word. If I've done it before, I'll do it again.
Indeed.
And that was like a prophetic clarion call to my spirit for years.
Wow.
For years. Not big discussion, not on poster board, not my motto or anything. It was just something personal. And God just said, if I've done it before, I'll do it again. I mean, I've done it with you, but I've done this before. So you
Right.
need to trust me. And so when I came up against odds like that, Eastern Review, I'll never forget our second one. Our first one, was kind of lame. I should say that. But we got almost 100 souls off the first one.
Right.
That second one, I'm like, okay, Lord, now we're gonna do this. I executed the plan.
Right.
We need $8,000.
Right.
What we're gonna do? Come on, team. We got the sound system together. We got the staging, the whole warmers, the food, everything.
Everything.
The day of, remember that the choir didn't want to sing because I said, if y'all come to Bible study, y'all not singing.
Right.
Remember that one? And so we had a deficit. We had a deficit. We didn't have the bodies, and we didn't have the money to finish out the job.
Right.
And at the end of it, we packed up, went home. I get a phone call. Out of the blue, I get a phone call. Hey man, I've been meaning to get to you. We got a check for $5,000.
Wow.
We were short. Hear me good here. A lot of you, I don't know if you remember this, so you know it, but we were short $4,993.
Wow.
We were short. Talking about I paid the tips, the chairs, the grills, the food, what
The
else that?
generator, the bouncy
Generator.
the bouncy thing. Yeah.
House things, 4,900. We were in debt, and I went home just give me some solid dollars. I sleep it off and deal with it in the morning.
Right.
And got home, bam, and it came back to me. Lord said, if I've done it before, I'll do it again. You just let me do it the way I want to do it.
Indeed.
I'm like, okay, Lord, all right. So the older I got, I'm just like, Lord, you do it the way you want to do it, how you want to do it, when you want to do it. I'm cool with that. He just asked us to be faithful.
Right.
Be faithful to him, he be faithful to us. and that has been my driving force.
Indeed.
Like, hey, I get excited. I talked to a friend of mine the other day. I get excited, Doc. Check them because I get to pay my tithes. I heard nobody talk about they getting excited about paying tithes. I get excited because I get to pay tithes.
Indeed.
He said, "You too big for me scared." No, man, you just don't understand. I get to give back to the kingdom. That's a whole nother series, though. That's a whole nother series.
I tell you, and I think that's probably one of the things that I did. Another one of the things that I learned from you is either to do it fearless or even to do it in fear, and your faith. And you were always a person that was always talking about faith, and so you demonstrated that in that regard, and I saw that transcend through your businesses as well. I mean, from I know I didn't know you. I did know you when you had the cleaning business, but I didn't know you while you were doing it per se. What have you? I knew about the salon. I knew about the even the sounds. I knew about even through the ministry how you did the shelter and how you just would just do things that people you wouldn't even think people would do, but you would take leaps and take risk. And I think that's something that is a lot of people struggle is that they're not willing to take risks and to take that leap. Yeah, and to take that leap. And so, that was something that you did. And I know this almost kind of sounds like a redundant question because you kind of talked about it or what have you, but, it kind of inspire people even in that about taking leaps and taking risks.
This is only for believers. You have to know your source. When God gives you a vision or you have a vision for God, you have to take a risk. Whether it's waking up in the morning, driving your car, going to work, asking for promotion, asking for healing, you have to take a risk. Life is based off of risk, period. It's based off of risk. If you're going to open up a business, okay, God, I'm going to do my X's and O's. I'm going to be strategic about it, but I ain't got a dime in my pocket. And I got to get a loan. That's taking a risk.
Indeed.
That's taking
Indeed.
a risk.
Absolutely. You know, can't be scared to jump out there and take risks. With that being said, tell us one of the risks that you taken is establishing Scales Pro Audio. So tell us a little bit about what Scales Pro Audio does. And for those of you all that are watching, you can see Mr. Scales' information scrolling along the bottom of the screen. So if you're interested in any of his services or his ministry, feel free to look at the links below, follow all of his social medias, and definitely look into his services. But anyway, go ahead and tell us about Scales Pro Audio.
Scales Pro Audio, we've been in business now for 31 years. I've been in the industry for 31 years, officially in business maybe 25. We provide audio, video needs, live streaming, repairs. Oh my God, I gotta go down to the whole list. Production. Let me just deal with sound. We do installs. We do live sound for concerts, corporate events, outdoor events. Right now, I'm in the midst of with this pandemic. I've been to this church in Milwaukee for last week, maybe 6 weeks. We've been outside every Sunday. Thank God for beautiful weather. So we set up all the sound, provide all the backline for the instrumentation. That's just audio. So you don't have to worry about your audio needs, mixer, everything. We do all that. Once again, we install, we sell you the product, or we work with your salesman to give you the best system possible for your venue, whether it's church, club, juke joint, hole in the wall, whatever it is. And we're budget friendly. I don't try to make $1 million, but I do make $1.
Indeed.
Video needs. Right now, everybody's working on their live streaming. So we work with putting a whole package together. It's not like it used to be where you just get some cameras and you go to TV or the local cable company. Right now, everybody's social media.
Right.
The best system for your best product. What else does Audio do? CDs and DVDs, we duplicate, package, print. I don't have one in front of me. Print directly on there so you look professional. Ministry, corporate, and so forth. I need my card if me tell me what I do.
Well, you said most of it in a nutshell right there. But
Right.
everything in the audio visual needs is pretty much, from corporate to professional to live to recorded. You pretty much handle all of that, live streaming needs, all that stuff. That is great. So before we get ready to end, because the hour is far spent, I have two final questions for you. Yes. Two final questions for you. The first, one of the first questions that I have for you is, what is on the horizon for you as an entrepreneur? What is it that you have, or even in ministry? What is it that we could be looking forward to, that we could be on the lookout for, that you're legally able to share? That we could be on. We don't want to put things out there prematurely, but if you have some things that is on the horizon, definitely let us know about it so we can be on the lookout.
With everything that's been going on throughout the last several years, especially this year, 2020, I'm the type of person that likes to examine where I am before I know where I'm going. My goal is to retire within the next year to 5 years. I like to hand my company over and sell it to someone. One of my daughters has been stepping up. My youngest daughter has been stepping up. And she had to do like you. She had to learn the grunt work. she learned how to hook up stuff, pack it up, and packing has been her biggest problem.
Look, I know all too well about them cord tips. Please not mess up this man's cords.
That's like, don't mess with my cables, man. We gonna fight.
Indeed.
It's funny. I hired one of her friends with this last venture, working in this church in Milwaukee on Sundays. So she's struggling trying to do chords. I said, listen, I'm gonna give you a chord. You go home and practice because you're gonna irritate me while we're on the job, and I'm ready to go. So my daughter's like, nah, give me a cable. I got one daughter. She's like, oh no, cables. So you get it, get it. I do something else. Let me count your money. Let me hold your check.
Right. Because the tips of those cords are very important. A lot of people don't really realize that, but when you get that feedback, and I learned this from him, when you get a lot of the feedback or disconnection with that line is because of the tips or they've been cracked or broken or something, or maybe even unscrewed. So it's, oh yeah. Matter of fact, funny story, and I told you about this when my sister, your daughter, Danny Nicole, music artist Danny Nicole, she did her CD release. She actually had someone there that was doing sounds for her, and they could not get the sounds right to save his life. But the Lord brought back to my remembrance the days of being under you, and I was able to assist, and even to the point that he took pictures of everything that I did because he didn't know how to get exactly what was done because he was really impressed. And so, and literally, I was really like flying by the seat of my pants, and I was kind of figuring it out. But I remembered, certain things. I remember the highs and the lows. I remember all of that stuff coming from you, and what's the mic inputs and what's the speaker inputs and all that stuff. And I won't say that I can go out there and do sounds as a living, but I will say exactly if it comes down to it, I can't help somebody that got an issue.
I would say you and Dwayne and Dante and my little cousin Kenny probably are my best students. Well, I'm not gonna say that. Y'all my second best student. My best student is my wife because she learned sound. I'm serious. I can set up and leave the gig now.
Wow.
I'm talking about digital. And
right.
There's we talking about, man, your wife worked. I'm like, man, my wife tell me what to do most times. Like, no, don't you hear that? But she learned. So to get back to what you said, like the legacy, my legacy is to leave lasting thoughts and impressions like I left on you and the other young men that I mentored in the industry. It's not an easy industry. It's a backbreaking industry. You got to be willing to get your hands dirty in it. It's more than chicken dinners that's gonna keep you going. You need some brute strength for this job. Even though things have gotten easier because of the digital age, the lighter. I mean, when we were doing Eastern Review, one speaker was almost 200 pounds.
Right.
Remember the big speakers I had? And,
Indeed.
We didn't have dollies and all that. We had
brute strength. Yes.
To the phone.
Absolutely.
So that is part of my legacy that if I can leave the company to my daughter or my little brother or my little nephew, someone that want to take it and do what I did or better, or just cut it off. And the impressions that I've made and the things I've taught, that's good enough for me too, because I've been able to bless somebody with a wealth of knowledge.
Indeed.
Whether they make $1 from it or not. Like I said before, my goal is to retire from just be an engineer, Um, but my wife and I have been, we're both at the point where we want to build on our legacy.
Right.
And from there, build something where our kids can just say, hey, we can just take over. Or we can sell the business. Or we can close the business, whatever. But leave something, because the Bible says, you know, this is one of my favorite sermons. A wise man will leave an inheritance for his children's children.
Indeed.
And I got grandchildren now. I got 6 grandbabies.
Right.
Now, in order for my oldest grandson to take over legally, that means I have to do this another 13 years. That ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen. I'm not gonna be 65, 70 years old, still lugging speakers around. I don't see it.
Yeah, not at all.
No. So, like I said, my wife and I have just been, you know, trying to get that lane of which direction we want to go and what we want to do. No, I don't want to be a couch potato. Let me say this. Since the pandemic, I've learned to sit my tail down.
You're always busy.
Always busy. Always going. I had a stroke back in December. And I allowed my wife to put me on timeout.
Right.
From Chicago, of all places. Now I live in Wisconsin.
Right.
Of all places, Chicago. You're not traveling in Chicago unless somebody's with you. So, like I said, it was December 8th. I had a stroke. I took off a couple of weeks. I went and did very small jobs, just engineering jobs, because that's the time where I need to cover my friends in the industry, because there's so much going on. And man, I've never had to depend on somebody else to drive me like long distance. I've never. My kids were driving. Man, listen, I never had to say yes, ma'am, to my kids. So I had that stroke, because I've always been like, you know, when I had the first stroke, I was like, I'll go myself.
Indeed. Right.
But I've learned to not. It's not all about me. Right. I gotta be an asset instead of a liability to those that's around me. With that being said, ministry-wise, there are many calls for me to minister, to pastor, but until it really is well in my soul, I ain't budging.
Indeed.
I came up where ministry is not your first choice. And what I mean by that is most guys or girls go into ministry to prosper,
right? To
get a name or identity. That's never been me.
Right.
I've always been in ministry to serve.
Indeed.
Once again, Blaylar, Tate, all the way back to my childhood pastor, taught me you gonna serve first. You gonna wash dishes or something. You gonna serve first.
Right.
Drive my car, whatever. So that is not my number one goal. My number one goal is, and I ain't changed, soul saved, but not just saved, but be productive in the kingdom.
Indeed.
When we get done with all the thrills and frills of ministry, it comes down to that one thing: you have to be saved, because you don't know your time. We're at the time now where a virus can take you out like that.
Take you out just like that.
We're at the time now where you can be driving your car and you get shot.
Yes.
You can be grocery store, school, whatever. So I've learned not to live in fear, but to live in faith.
Indeed.
I wherever I go, I'm already cocky. So wherever I go, I'm walking around like, if you take me out of here today, Lord, I'm cool, because
Right.
I know I'm living the best saved life I can. That's a shirt for you, but let me print it, by the way. Let me live my life so that men may see my good works.
Indeed.
And that's how it is. I'm 54 now. Now in my 30s, I had a different conversation. Legacy, man, I'm trying to get my own. What you talking about?
Right.
I'm trying to come on the ground for myself. But
exactly.
My oldest daughter, Ashley, is 33, I'm sorry. Be 34 in November. My youngest is 21. I got 5 daughters and 6 grandkids. I ain't got time to be fooling around with positions and
Right.
power struggles and docs and docologies and doctrines. And you join my fellowship or reformation, you got to give up $5,000. I'm like, listen, if I got $5,000, it's going to my retirement fund. Period.
Indeed.
Period. You ain't giving me no company car. So I don't want to hear it. And once again, ministry for me, because Blair just put this in me, it's not a game. It's not a game. You have to be disciplined following God. You may not speak in tongues. You may not believe in the healing ministry, but you better believe you saved.
Indeed. Indeed.
You better believe you saved. Everything else is an addition. Everything else is an addition. And people, I might be going off on this. People are knocking the kingdom off balance, if I can say it like that. They're knocking the kingdom off balance, trying to make one thing higher than the other.
Right.
The bottom line is, the Bible says it. First, ye seek the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added unto you. Indeed. Simplicity.
Exactly.
Simplicity. Remember I talked. You remember this message because we crack up about it every now and then. Was it dead? I remember I preached a sermon. Stop molesting me.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we talk about it often.
If I had that TB Jakes anointing, I'll still be putting that in reproduction. TB Jakes still selling stuff from 20 years ago.
Exactly, and making millions off of it.
Making millions, exactly. No More Sheets still making money. Good God Almighty. I just ain't on the right circuit. That's all. That's where I'm at in life. I ain't got time to play games with folks. I'm gonna leave a legacy, man. I want to leave my name, number one, in good standing. Yeah, there may be some, shadows behind it. You don't act right here, body slam you. Okay, you don't act right. Yeah, he used to pull his pistol on you. Yeah, that's all right. You get out of line, he might bust you in your mouth. Yeah, that's all right.
Lord.
But there's a thing called deliverance. Yeah.
We still praying. We still praying.
One of my friends said, he said, I have a 180 deliverance. I ain't come full circle yet. So watch out, I might come circle around smack.
Terrible. Terrible.
You gotta have like-minded people around you. That's all it is.
Not them like-minded people. It's gonna fuel them demons. We ain't trying to do that.
We can laugh.
Well, actually, Indeed. Actually, you know what? You answered both of my last two questions I wanted to ask, which is, what is on the horizon for you and what is the legacy that you want to leave behind? And my closing thoughts that I want to share about you before we leave. One thing that for sure that I know that you have been is a reproducer. You have, and interestingly enough, uh in you reproducing, and I guess I deal with it, I deal with the same thing. When you reproducing yourself, or you're trying to help people to grow, or you see their gift and their talent and you try to push them into, a lot of people have resistancy to it. I was one of them towards you. As you, I never forget it, when I was helping you with your praise and worship team before I joined the church. You said that God has called you to the ministry. He's taking you off your job and you coming over here to the church. And I looked at you like you was crazy. And everything like that happened exactly the way that it was. And if not coming through your ministry, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at now. I'll probably be still waving my hands from somebody's choir. I probably still would be in music ministry. But you have as much of a spiritual father. You were literally doing it by trial and error. You was kind of, you was doing it not by having total full a total full individual that did it to you, but you did it to your best of your abilities. And one thing I can say is that you are a reproducer. I still remember how you would I won't say throw me out there in the wolves, but you did throw me out in the deep end a few times, to learn how to sink or swim. And it was literally like learn how to sink or swim. And, going down to Foxview and doing Bible studies and doing marriage counseling. And I never been married today. And I'm still able to counsel people that are married today, to running the church in your absence, to, you having me to come to your house and pick up your equipment and break down and set up the church every Sunday. Go down after breaking down, setting up, go pick up the people for church and bring them to church, drop them off, play, do service, minister, lay hands or speak, and then break down, go take everybody home, take y'all home and the equipment. So I'm telling you, and so to this day, I can say that those principles, and then also your evangelism strategy. I always say this about anybody that's with evangelism. I've always used you, and I always use Rogers as two individuals that have very effective evangelism strategies, because we have, overnight grew the church by having, doing unconventional things. And to this day, people have patterned certain things after what the legacy that was built through the ministry. They still go down to Foxview. And it's like, well, Foxview should be a church by now. As many people that have come off of our off of what we've done. And so you have been very much a reproducer of yourself. And you also have been a person to push and back people. And that's something that is a part of the legacy that you definitely be remembered by, that you are able to see gift and talent in people and able to push them into where they are. And I see you still doing it to this day. You're doing it in your daughters. You're doing it in your other people that have come along next to you. You're doing it in your wife. And I think you're going to do it until the day it's time for you to take your eternal rest. Indeed.
Thank you, though. Thank you for all that. I just want to give back to what was given to me. And just seeing people just have a gift and not knowing how to utilize it for kingdom irritates me. If I can say it like that. There are so many gifted people that God has blessed.
Yes.
That they fighting with either the church or fighting with themselves or whatever it is. And I just took on the mantle of just, hey, let's strategize it this way, because I want to see you blessed. Hey, Dana Bell. Hey, Dana Bell. I want to see you blessed. I want to see you grow. I want to see you prosper. My number one thing, and I'm gonna let you go next one, is investing in people.
Indeed.
Investing. If you're gonna start a business, let me know what I can do. I might figure out something that you ain't figured out. While you
Right.
struggling, God already told me what to do to help you get to a certain point.
Indeed.
If marriage, you know, like you said, I threw you to the wolves. Hey, I saw your future.
Right.
I saw your future. Man, the timeline of you just speaking, teaching teaching Sunday school, to becoming a licensed minister, to I'll put you out there for a month straight, free,
Right.
and that was all
Right.
6 months.
Right. Indeed. Indeed. But it was the making of who I am now, and you know, and my love for passion for ministry is it came through that start, you know, and that would have never happened if I didn't heed to the word. And some people don't really understand the importance of listening to prophets or people that are prophetic, because they are really talking about your future. They're speaking the oracles of God concerning your life and your destiny. And when you don't take heed, you will really disrupt the flow of your entire life. You have to be, you know, you got to be very sensitive to that. Now, and not everybody's prophets, not everybody has the ability to be able to hear concerning your life. However, when somebody is, and there is constant pull in that direction, or constant confirmations to that, you know, you have to yield at some point.
Yeah. Back to Blaylock. If I didn't yield to him, his prophetic call of my life, and it wasn't no deep and spooky things, he just said, hey, you need to be here so that you can grow and be more effective.
Indeed.
And he just stayed on that. He just stayed on that. What hinders most people is they hear God, they know God, but they fail to obey God.
Right.
They fail. Fail because of fear, lack of faith,
right,
lack of trust in God. And it hurts me to see people that can be so much greater, but they don't apply it to their lives.
Indeed.
Like, Lord, I'm just gonna make this move. I'm just gonna make this move. Give you a for instance. My wife and I are working on this project right now. No, let me back up. We were working on a project a few months ago. 25,000 square foot building.
Right.
We ready to go. We ready to go. Go at it. Go at it.
Right.
And some in my spirit kept telling me, like, this ain't gonna work. This stay tentative. So my wife, we going at it, putting the strategy together, the vision and everything, picking out color for paint and designing this room and what's what. We had the vision, had the concept, but we didn't have the anointing. I should say the anointing. We didn't have the blessings of God at that particular time.
Gotcha. Indeed.
But a few months later, God puts me in contact with somebody that can foot the whole bill.
Wow.
If we revisit it, but we turned the page. It was a lesson learned for us, and to come together and say, okay, we're a team, not just at home in the bedroom, but we're a team in business.
Right.
When I go out and I do my big shows, we strategize. I let people know, yeah, I may be the engineer, I may be the tech, but my wife is the spokesperson.
Right.
Period. I got some
Absolutely.
clients. I got some clients be like, we won't even give you your check. We just give it to your wife because we don't understand. Hey, man.
Right.
You
complement each other.
Exactly. So that is my goal for my sons and daughters. When we're around each other, when we're in contact with each other, we complement each other.
Right.
I want people to know that you're a product of me. I want you to let people know that your sons and daughters in ministry are product of you, and
Right.
that should go on and carry on, carry on, carry on. If I come in contact with somebody once again, and I see you have a need, I use, for instance, when we went through the Rockford season,
Right.
my number one goal was to be a blessing to ministry. Now, if it's not received, that ain't my problem.
Right.
But we all go through seasons so that we can go to the next season.
Right.
You know.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. Before we get out of here, two things I want to say to the audience or what have you. He said he's talking about, and we both share this, that we both have like a distinct irritation for not people, but when we see people that are so gifted and talented or anointed or have so much purpose and they're not living in it. And matter of fact, when I was on with Daryl Harris the other night, and I was on his live, the Lord gave me this revelation. He said, rise up and take your rightful place or be replaced. And this is a season right now where God is raising up your replacement. And it's either you're going to stand up and take your rightful place, or you're going to be replaced. And you're going to find somebody doing the vision, doing the thing that you were supposed to do, and probably even greater than you, because they're at a level of accepting where it is. And you know, even being under his ministry, he'll replace you in a minute, you know, because if you're not if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, he'll find someone else. But taking that spiritual
exit you off the keyboard. I'm like, you what? Oh no, don't worry, but I'll play myself and get not play that good. Like,
this is true.
We're gonna do old school today. I'm just gonna bump it. We're gonna give you this bump it. We're gonna do old school. We're gonna worship now. You gonna worship the way I tell you to worship. Sit down.
But I tell you, you will be replaced. And so I want you all to be encouraged that are listening in. I hope you gain some wisdom and knowledge nuggets from what has been shared, because I've learned a lot from the man that's sitting right beside me on this live, and it's an honor to have you on to interview you and to share your story. As we get ready to get out of here, you all, I also want to remind you, as always, we're always on every Mondays and Wednesdays. We are in the last month of the first season. So this is the first show of September. And so we have some great things coming up for the rest of the month. Stay tuned, why have you. And then we're going to be taking a 3-month season break. And then we're going to come back in January. And so you'll be on the lookout for some amazing things. There's some negotiations on the table about some things. I'm not going to quite tell you yet, but there's some things coming down the pipeline for Legacy Builder Series, and I'm really excited about it. And, you know, I have to bring people on that are legacy builders, but also lately, if you notice the last few shows, I've actually brought people on that has been a part of my life in some aspect, or me having being a part of their life in some kind of way, and inspiring them. And this is a part of my legacy. This is a part of my legacy, is to push you to build legacy. This is a part of my apostolic call as an emerging apostolic prophetic leader. It is to push people into their destiny and to get identity and to know what that is, and not to hold you down, but to give you the tools and the resources or the knowledge that you need to go forth and to do. One thing that I've learned from my bishop, my former pastor, is that his motto was to bring them in, raise them up, and to send them out. And that is exactly what, he wasn't about keeping a leash on you, but he was about sending you out to do what it is that God intended for your life. And I hope in any measurement that you get that as well, that we bring you into the show, we're raising you up with some knowledge, and we're sending you back out into the world to do what you are meant to do. Another thing too, that is one of the slogans of my bishop as well, is living in favor every day. That is what I want to pray upon you as well, is that you continue to live in favor every day. That when you put your hands to the plow, when you put your hands commitments to whatever the vision is that you want to accomplish. I pray that you live in favor every day, that you begin to see doors swing open for you. They come off the hinge. Every response is yes. Every connection is yes. And if it is a no, it's going to push you to a yes, and that you be inspired. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Yes, we went over a little bit. We went over 41 minutes, but you know, when you have your former leader on the line, there is no time. So thank you guys again for tuning into the Legacy Builders series. Again, be on the lookout for new things coming and continue to build legacy.
Thank you for viewing the Legacy Builders series. Tune in July through August, Mondays and/or Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with special guest panelists to appear. Want to be a guest or a sponsor? Send your request via email to legacybuilderstv@gmail.com. Till next time, go forth and build legacy.